to debate this and react is Democratic strategist, 2008 Clinton campaign advisor Richard Goodstein, and filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza. Nice to see both of you this morning. Richard, I want to start with you. You hear that argument back and forth that the reason that Trump won was because they gave a platform to white supremacists. Do you buy that?
Well, there are a lot of reasons. Although I have to say, I was listening to your commentary earlier, and you talk about how Trump crushed Hillary. It's an odd term to use about somebody who got 2.5 million fewer votes, who got under 47% of the vote, less than Mitt Romney got. It's a funny way to talk about crushing somebody. I will say this, though. You know, we heard this term alt-right. That's a kind of an alt-reality, the notion that Trump did the crushing. Look, there are facts, Clayton. Trump tapped into the birther movement. He talked about Muslims and Mexicans. It's no coincidence that there have been hundreds and hundreds of racist and bigoted incidents ever since the election, and people saying Trump, Trump, Trump as the backbone for what they're doing. So
Dinesh,
look, Trump retweeted. He retweeted white supremacists.
Right.
So how is that not tapping into white supremacy? I don't get it.
Dinesh,
how is that even an argument?
Dinesh, does Richard have a point here that Trump didn't do anything to quell those individuals whose voices may be representative by the white supremacy movement and others? What do you say to that?
Well, this kind of white supremacy allegation is part of the modern Democratic playbook. I remember in 1980, people dragged out 5 toothless white supremacists and said to Reagan, you know, you're catering to white supremacy. You can look at these guys, they've endorsed you. And Reagan said, well, you notice that they may have endorsed me, but I haven't endorsed them. And I think this is the key issue, that the Democratic Party historically has been the party of white supremacy. All the institutions of white supremacy, from slavery to segregation, the Ku Klux Klan, lynching, these were created, promoted, and sustained by the Democratic Party. From the WikiLeaks revelations, we see that Democrats even now talk privately about blacks, about Hispanics, even about Catholics, in a way that you never see Republicans talk. There's nothing equivalent on the Republican side. So this is a scapegoat to try to explain an election result that is very embarrassing for the Democratic Party. They had more money, they had the organization, the Republican Party was divided, and still Trump won. That leaves these guys with a lot of explaining to do.
Richard, did the Democrats get the message, losing 200 counties that had once gone to Barack Obama in areas where this used to be the backbone of the Democratic Party, in West Virginia and in Pennsylvania and Michigan?
First of all, I have to say to Dinesh, you know, these incidents, these hundreds of incidents around the country where people are saying build the wall against Hispanic student basketball players at a high school. That's not something that Democrats are making up. This is reality. I'm sorry. Look, to answer your question, Clayton, obviously there was a message problem that Democrats had. They see they're the ones who on trade deals are standing up for labor rights. They're the ones who are standing up for OSHA, for health and safety regulations when there's an effort to tear down regulations. They believe that they're the ones who have stood up for blue-collar, these white voters who they lost. No question they lost them. And I think the Democrats have to figure out a way to reframe what they're doing to make sure people know that, just like Trump's taking credit for these 1,000 jobs and poo-pooing the 3.4 million jobs that were saved or created during the stimulus program.
Dinesh,
Look, there's message issues. Yes.
Well, let me address directly this issue about building the wall. Remember that the reason that we've seen this decimation of the white working class is due to the combined forces of technology, globalization, immigration. Trump was the only candidate directly addressing those issues. He said, I'll do something about immigration. I'll do something about trade. Obama and Hillary have done nothing about these issues and essentially been blaming third parties. Oh, it's CEOs and corporate jets. That's why you don't have a job. Trump was at least putting his finger on the right issue. You can't write it off to racism. It wasn't that at all.
All right, guys, we got to leave it there. Dinesh and Richard, thanks so much for joining us this morning. This debate will continue as this post-mortem